Before the Ravens regular season begins and we get a look at a very familiar face in Joe Flacco possibly starting for the New York Jets, the Ravens are going to see on Sunday afternoon, they're going to see a somewhat less familiar face, but someone who's been with the team more recently in Trace McSorley. He played quite well in their first preseason game against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals defense is full of quality players, and even though they weren't, they didn't have their starters out there on defense, a lot of their second string guys are of high quality, if you ask me. They could be starters elsewhere. And in fact, I would say the Bengals defense doesn't just have a starting 11. They have like a starting 15 or 16, in my opinion. We're going to take a look at some of the film. It's all going to be from the all-22 or coach's angle. We're not going to see any film from the end zone angle here. McSorley's going to be at quarterback. This is all from the first two drives. Nearly threw an interception early. And then on a third down, some would say got bailed out, but he's throwing a nice ball here. He's going to go up top to the one receiver side. He's got man-to-man coverage. He's going to throw this ball from the 26. There was a lot of talk about his arm strength, coming into the draft. And then when he was with the Ravens, look, you can see this ball gets down to the 23. So thrown quite far. Perhaps you'd like to see this ball, another yard and a half, 2 yards out there. So, maybe you could claim that it's slightly underthrown. They still get the pass interference penalty because that receiver definitely had that DB beat, if you ask me. It's a good throw. They got a 40-yard pass interference call there. You don't see this call a whole lot in NFL teams. The Cardinals and maybe the Ravens are the only two. I can't. Maybe Josh Allen with the Bills, but the type of draw here that you're getting. First of all, it takes advantage of the numbers of the defense, so it's incredibly smart. You go trips to the field. They've got to match up numbers wise. You can see they've got a boundary side safety who oftentimes would be on the hash, not giving up the field, meaning don't go any further. Don't go any further into the boundary than this. So let you know that there might be something a little bit different coverage-wise coming. But he rolls. So numbers-wise, they're going to have a huge edge over here once they get out to these two linebackers, which they do with the running back and then one of the offensive linemen. You can run this with Kyler Murray. You can run this with Trace McSorley. Against this level of defenders anyway. You can obviously run it with Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen too. Then the unique thing about Trace McSorley is they're running a lot of under center stuff. So you got a guy who is in the gun and capable of running the football effectively. I mean, at this point, he would have to be called a dual threat guy, I would think. He certainly was in college. And then they go under center with him to finish this drive, and he looks really good doing so, if you ask me. You guys can let me know in the comment section what you think. A play action fake here. You can see he's working through the reads. He's looking for the H-back out into the flats. I guess he thinks that he doesn't want to get the ball out there because this defender has got leverage to come up and make the tackle near the sideline. So he decides to go to the interior read, which would be the second part of the read, gets the ball further down there. I mean, you could say that maybe he should get the ball out there. I like the design of this play, though. Watch this H-back, what he's doing. He's lined up to the right. They're faking what's called F counter. F counter has a guard pull, and then the H-back or tight end, whatever, you pull, and sometimes wrap and sometimes kick, depending on the scheme. They're faking it, though. And then he's leaking out into the flat. So what they're doing is they're really putting this flat defender in conflict, giving him two guys to guard. Does a pretty good job of staying in between them. Still, McSorley is able to get the ball down there to the 4, almost pick up the first down. Really well-designed play. I can't pronounce this receiver's name. But you get the number 33, the safety for the Bengals, who looks like he's playing some corner here in this game. Hides in the backfield too much, bites on it, and then Dax Hill can't cover this up. I think it's Dax Hill as the safety, can't cover it up. Play action. You can see that this guy understands, I left my guy. I got to turn around and go get him. Safety tries to cover it up. Too much ground to cover. Well-thrown ball by Trace McSorley. So interesting, guy. Of course, not a starter for the Cardinals. Probably not a starter for anyone in the league. So you could say, Coach, you're kind of wasting my time here. I like to give respect to all players, whether they're starters or second-string guys, if they're doing interesting things. And to me, they're doing interesting stuff with him. They're running the QB draw. So he's they look at him as a dual threat guy. Let's phrase it that way. Whether you do or not, that's up to you. But the Cardinals look at him as a dual threat guy. You don't call QB draw in the NFL on second down, second and 10, unless you think he's a dual threat guy. Then they're running under center stuff, the more classic play action plays. So there's a lot to say there that they're trying to get done. This is what a lot of people call New England concept. Really well thrown ball, if you ask me. Down the right sideline. Let me pull that back one more time so you can see it. New England concept. Some Patriots, whatever. hooks, stop routes, and then a fade against man free. That's typically what I know that people call it. And the interior guy, the number 3 receiver, is running a little bit deeper route. He's just occupying who I think is Dax Hill. And then you can see they've really isolated him. So the Cardinals do a nice job in their entire offense of spreading you vertically, but really the spread offense, the term spread, is more so meant to spread you horizontally. And I feel like the Cardinals do a really good job of that. Screenplay. You got 2 running backs in the backfield to start. Watch the patience that McSorley has. I'm omitting other elements to these plays, to be honest with you, just to focus on him. Watch the patience that he has. Big gain, obviously. O-line, running back did a great job. Not to leave them out of the analysis, but just focusing on McSorley, he's going to get heavy pressure from the left side here, and he's letting this pressure develop. He's letting it get closer to him, and he has to. He has to let this running back clear this other D lineman who seems to have awareness that that's what's coming. Nice job by McSorley. They didn't get a touchdown on this drive like they did on the first one. I think they missed the extra point on the first drive, ended up being up 9-0 after 2 drives. Of course, they won the game. This is going to be a short video just focusing on McSorley, what they're doing with him. This is a fantastic play. Again, I think this is Dax Hill. Shouldn't be surprised with the level of athleticism that he has. Cool route combinations. We'll focus on the coverage here for a moment. And, McSorley doesn't really have a place to put this football. You can't put this football further this way because now you're bringing this defender into the concept, into the play. We'll pull it back one more time, look at the routes, and really you can see Dax Hill almost damn near had an interception, if that is in fact him. If it's not, I feel stupid. All right, the route concepts. You could say, well, how did that defender get there? So you got the number 2 receiver, which is this guy, and he's running what I would call a China in. Some people call it a whip route. China in, that should be the last part of the progression. The number 1 receiver is running it here, and then the number 3, which is the guy he throws the ball to, is running that right there. So this route, for whatever reason, just doesn't hold that corner enough to keep him out of the play. I don't think Trace McSorley, really, to be honest with you, is seeing that at all. I just think the throw, by design, the throw is more so designed to go here. But my point is, this corner did a nice job of playing off of his route, making himself available on the underneath side, while Dax Hill did a great job on the top side. That's not the real scheme for the coverage, because this is just man free, if you ask me. So technically, this corner, should be on this, who is the number 2 receiver. Remember, as I drew it up, he ran like what I call a China in route. Number 1 receiver ran the slant. He ended up here. And then this is the number 3 that McSorley throws the ball to. So not a well-thrown ball, we would admit. Let me know what you think you see. I only gave you 2 possessions, to be honest with you. Another familiar face that the Ravens are going to see this time in the preseason. Of course, the big one is possibly seeing Joe Flacco in Week 1. Let me know what you think of Trace McSorley's play. Of course, the circumstances by which he left Baltimore in the midseason last year was very interesting in and of itself. If you've never read or heard about it, the Arizona Cardinals did us a favor before the Bears game when Lamar was sick, I think, the entire week, and we're going to pick him up on like a Thursday or a Friday. They were going to take him off our practice squad. But they didn't need him for that week, they being the Cardinals. The Ravens possibly needed him, though, because of Lamar's illness. And so I guess the Ravens, the story that I have heard detailed to me is that the Ravens asked the Cardinals, hey, can you wait until we determine on Sunday if Lamar is going to be able to go or not? And from what I know of it and what a friend of mine has detailed to me, the Cardinals said, okay, fine, no problem. Very interesting story. You would not expect pro football franchises to make those kind of concessions to each other. But with the relationship that the Cardinals and the Ravens apparently have, I guess it shouldn't be surprising. Let me know what you think of my breakdown in the comments section and what you think of Trace McSorley and how he might play against the Ravens in preseason game number 2.